Hi, I'm Sonam. This is the new Disney animation movie Encanto. I just really like uh, this Disney animation as it's like the journey of an individual within her or his own psyche, within the main family and community. It's like it just explain that how integrated we as an individual are, and we all have a role and responsibilities within our own communities. There's so many elements like we accept it but we know it doesn't exist, like magic, superpower, and all of it. These are all of the elements that it is. It's a family of matriarchal, like it's not a patriarchal family, it's just much more of a matriarchal. And grandmother, the eldest woman in the family, is the founder of this matriarchal. It's like a hierarchy that she's in the top. uh, Antonio, Antonio is a smallest member of this family, and he has his initiation to find out what is his superpower. All of the member of family, when they are in a certain age, they go through this initiation to find out what is their own superpower and how can help all of the family member in large. So now is his time for Antonio to find what is his superpower. Mirabel is a member of family that she doesn't know if she has a superpower, because when she was the same age as Antonio, she didn't initiate, like she didn't go through to have her own room and her own door and find out what is her superpower. She's very compassionate, kind, caring, and but she doesn't know what is her superpower. Here she's just helping Antonio, giving him some warmth to go through this initiation. Antonio is here to go through his initiation, but he's very scared of seeing all these people that are standing here and looking at him. So instead of just going to be initiated, he's just waiting, and everyone is just worried, waiting patiently to see what's happened to Antonio. Antonio asked Mirabel to come with him in his initiation journey. That's very rare that this happen. Each individual need to go through the initiation alone. But here's I found this part very fascinating, because Antonio is a masculine element and Mirabel is much more uh, feminine structure. Like they need these two, balance of these two, for Mirabel to find out what is her role in the family and what is her gift. So Mirabel is helping Antonio to be initiated, and her face is changing because she has to go through the hole in her past. Like she needs to go out to where she was, like in her childhood when she was the same age as Antonio. She didn't initiate. Now she needs to pass through the same corridor and feel like everything. It's like working with your inner child and giving the child what she didn't receive. I just found this part really fascinating. It's like we all go through some part in something in our childhood, in our journey of development, that make us disconnected from our true essence, and we are left out to feel like we are unworthy, or we just don't have what everyone else has, and we don't see our worth and values. Here she sees herself like she sees herself initiating, like she's going through her past, sorting out everything that wasn't there and organizing, like we all go through that. Or in some point in our life, the better way I need to phrase it is that we go through some phases in our life. We need to look back, sit down and reflect on it and rewrite our own story. Mainly I can say it's like we have a story in our head that is the stories keep shifting. It's like it's not something that it can be continuous. It's something that is keep moving, shifting as our perception changes. That a story also needs to shift in order for us to be much more mature and be able to live in a world and have something to offer and live our truth. The grandmother, you see, it's a stair, like a stairs. You can see this in this movie, like when they go upstairs, it's like they are going to have they all of them have their own room, that in their rooms they have their superpowers, like it's their world, it is their place. It's like they just moving through the consciousness, and the higher they go through consciousness, they are knowing they can self-actualize, they can manifest, and they can be. It's like they having a dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word that we have a soul purpose, like we all have some unique gifts, soul purpose that we need to use. So it's like, you see, here is a stairs that they're just going through a state, and in top of the stairs is the matriarchal element, the grandmother, and she's look startled, she's confused, and she can't say anything because there's so many there are so many people there that she can't just say, okay, Miranda, you shouldn't come. But Antonio insisted for Miranda to come in this initiative journey with her. And you see, she remembers her childhood once when she was initiated. And this candle, we come to it later, it's like it's a golden, it just keep burning. It's like consciousness, it's like some superpower, some godly, something from God, the other world, that gives all of them the power. And when she went through her journey, she didn't initiate. And although you can see the expectation in the face, like, you know that you have certain, the older member of a society, the structure have some expectation from us, and sometimes we just disappoint them, like we don't fulfill that expectation. And when she was waiting for this door to open for her, just the door went, like it just disappeared, and it just disappeared for her. But for Antonio, it is not the same. For Antonio, when he touches the door, he become initiated, and his superpower, I found this one very fascinating, that his superpower is connection to animal, and an animal is like instinct. He's connected to his uh, not only a spiritual dimension of his being, but also the humanness, everything that comes with an instinct, like his instinct. He's connected to his instinct. And it's just that Miranda, in order for Miranda to become self-actualized and be initiated, she also needs to be connected to her own animal and instinct. Like we all have some instinct that we in some point in our life we are going to go through it. He's just getting to know his superpower is his instinct. He can sync with animals, and all of animals want. Everybody's startled and happy and amazed that it's happened, and he has a superpower. And all of the animals come to him, like the animal come, like instead of saying that the instinct, some of our basic instinct is something bad, we need to know that in order to self-actualize, in order to be who we meant to be, we need to integrate all of them, like our anger, our greed, our all of these elements that some of society says they are not correct. We need to accept them in order to move on and to be the person that we meant to be. Then he opens the door and he has his own world. Like his world is jungle, it's wildness, it's instinctual, everything that with it's with instinct. He knows things, he can speak with animals, and it's an amazing superpower to have. And we all have it, but we have forgotten it. The scene here changes, like there is all the light in the now there's not much light here. Is everything is dark, everything is like gloomy. It's like you are going to go to depths of unconscious, like she's going to go, you understand something, like you understand something, then you go to a state of chaos, in a chaos to sit down and sort it out in order to just move out. Chaos is part of it, and she's now in the middle of a hole, and she's coming down as there, like she was up in a consciousness, now she's coming down. She's in another step, like she's in underground, she's with the goddesses of underground, and she needs to initiate herself, like go back layers and layers back deep into herself to just find out who she is. She hears few voices and she sees the house. One of her power that usually she doesn't see it as a power. She can understand the house, like she can speak with the house, and the house is just. She sees that the house is cracking as it just broken. She sees a vision of the future, but she's not sure even it's if she sees it, is it true or not. Like the candle, that's the power of all of the family member, it's just going dim and it's just losing its power and everything is breaking. But inside there, everybody is partying, and she's just come to them and said, okay, grandmother, something is wrong, and the house is breaking, the candle is dimming. And the grandmother also needs to go into her own unconscious, like something that she just hid it under the carpet, in order to for all of the family member to integrate and to leave. Everybody else is in the top, but now the role is shifted, like we always go down and up between our level of consciousness, like sometimes we are in heaven and sometimes we are in her earth, and she needs to integrate her own undergroundness. The face, this face, it tells a story. Like she's hiding something. Her face is like she's pretending everything is fine, but it is not fine. You can see her eyes, the way is her face. It's like it's a straight eyebrow. Like if you see this face unconsciously, you can know something is wrong, but she's pretending like she's matriarchal element that she holds all of the family together in some way, so she knows something is off but she pretends everything is okay. um Miranda goes to her sister to see what is happening. Like she just wants to know that what's happening, because other member of her family also felt like something is off. So she's just moving to her sister to see what's wrong. And her sister is quite strong. Her superpower is that she's very strong, like very strong. Her body, she can move mountains, she can move the houses. But now her power is just becoming much less, and she doesn't have as much power that she used to have. This part is like a sister wound, like you need to go through your sister wound and sort it out, like solve it. I have sister wound with my sister, and through our past lifetime as well. Like we have some wounds that we need to go through and sort it out. Then she knows about her uncle. She has an uncle. His name is Bruno, but nobody in family speaks about a Bruno. Like he's a part of a family that family has removed, but his shadow is in the family. Like everybody knows he's there, but he's not. Like he's an outcast, someone who just left the family, outcast. In each family, that's very interesting that in each family there's an outcast. There's things that you don't speak about. There's things that you don't say. Like if a family have immigrated, you don't mainly speak about your country of birth, about a family member who is addicted, or there's so many elements that in families is like a secret, and she's just going to go through that. Like here's a there is a shape like hourglass, like a she's going to go somewhere that she doesn't know what's happened there, and she wants to see what's happening. It's darkness as well. Darkness, it's like unconscious, it's like deep, it's painful, it's scary, and it's unknown. She's just coming out of her safe family environment, going to a place of unknown to see what is there. And she just spiraled down much more downer, like she goes even much more downhill. But then there's so many stages that she needs to go up to find the clues that the Bruno has left. Bruno had a vision and and because he had a vision, he left the family. He left the family and become the shadow of the family. Miranda is going to the Bruno's room to find what is it, what was he saw, and it's related to the house, so she can fix it. And she proved to everyone that she's worthy and she has also some superpower. It's like the structure is like a spiral. If you look at it, it's like a spiral, and we all go through this spiral. Like we think that we have sorted out something in our past, we integrate it, but you see that you just keep moving, and there's layer, a spiral, and layer. It's like a black hole that gives birth to everything. Here you see that the instinct of Antonio is with her. Like she in some way integrated, like she has working with her own instinct, her own emotions and instinct, and she's using instinct to go. Like birds are higher consciousness. They can fly. They know things that we can't know, and they have a higher vision than us as a human. So she integrated this part of herself that helps her to move forward, and she just go up and up. And she has some chaos, like there's so many dots that need to be creative to solve it, to go. Like here she can be like give up, like it's she came up all of this step, and here there's a gap. She needs to fill this gap and jump and move. Here when she comes, she see all of these broken part, like broken part of the uh, Bruno's vision. Bruno was like a shaman, someone who could see the future. It's like he could go to other world and see the future. And here he just collected everything, and she sees herself. She sees herself there. So think of it. You will become very confused that why I should be in Bruno's vision and what's happening there. She collects everything with a sorter, and she comes here in her room and she pieces together all of the broken parts. And when she does that, she sees herself there. And his father, when his father see it, like you see his shoulder is down, like he's a masculine that still is naivety. He's like very naive. His face, like look at his eyes and his mouth, that is like he doesn't want to accept something. Like he knows something is changing, the structure is changing, something is changing, but he doesn't want to accept that. So he wants to pretend there's nothing. But when you, it's so funny, this part I really, it's funny for me, because when you pretend something is like not happen, like something is not changing, there's someone who hears and know. And Miranda's cousin, she can hear things, she can know things, like, and her eyes is in surprise, and of course she's going to tell everybody about that. Miranda still sees that the structure beneath her feet is breaking, the house is breaking, and in the vision that Bruno has, she's there, she's right over here, and the house is broken. So it's a puzzle why I'm here, and I am the reason that structure of my family is collapsing, a structure of the society, culture is collapsing, or I have a role there. So there's there's an unknown part that you need to go and find out. The grandmother arranged this engagement, so uh, Isabel, Miranda's sister, would marry this man, so they would have some children to make the flame um, brighter, instead of the death, the uncertainty that's happening, that usually it's happened in many family structure. And instead of looking at what is there and using the member of the families that they just want to procreate, to find a solution there. But in the meantime, it's like Miranda is just again goes to the darkness. She goes to the shadow, darkness, to find things. And there, when she goes there, she finds Bruno, the uncle, who is, everybody in the family thought he left the family, but he was in the background hiding with mice and some other creature in the house. And mm, they see that if you move the vision, it's like the house is unbroken, then if you move it, the house is broken. So there's an element of mystery there, unknown what's going to happen. And when Bruno as Miranda is speaking, all of the animals that's working here told everything to Antonio, like they need to find out what was the vision. The vision was half, it was incomplete. So Miranda is insisted to know what is the vision, and Bruno doesn't want it because he was in the shadow, in the darkness, and he doesn't want to come out into light and express it. And Antonio helps them to take them in his room, like even take Bruno and connect him to his emotion, to his instinct, animal nature, so he could see the vision again clearly to help all of the family member. Here they are sitting like a meditation space, and they have a ceremony like to find the vision. Um, this is a tiger that Miranda gave it to Antonio, so Antonio would feel more confident to go through his initiation. Now Antonio giving it to Bruno. Like Bruno, if you look at his face, it's like he's in the darkness. He's not conscious. He's like um, he has some distrust in himself, some naivety himself. Still, he couldn't integrate. Like he hasn't moved past his mother's judgment. Like he wanted to keep up with his mother's expectation that usually happen to boys. Like my brother has the same issue right now. He's 15, but it's like he's going to go through the same process. it's a fire. Fire is element of transformation. Like he lights a fire in middle of forest square, like to go to his vision. And when he do that, his door will turn. He has a light in his door while the door was this, because he just thought, I'm going to give up my game and I'm just going to go and live in darkness. But you can't always be in the darkness, because life takes you out and life throws you into chaos to look at it. And they're just moving and they see the flame is just losing its brightness, its strength, and here's the Miranda and the broken house. And but then there's a transformation. There's always like, I grew up in a Persian culture, that one thing, Islamic and Persian culture, that one thing that I have been reminded always, that there's a brightness in each darkness. Like there's a gold that you can extract, there's diamond that you can take out of the darkness that you are in. So she sees this dark, she's a transformation, like it's a butterfly that's moving, it's golden, like it's come from God, from other world, whatever you believe in it, it's come from there and just move her, and she's hugging someone. Like it's isn't this one is interesting. Like she needs to sort out her relationship with her sister in order to make the family, the flame, stronger. Like she needs to work in her sister wounds. She comes to her sister and tries to sort out things. The sister is like flower. She makes everything beautiful, like soft. She's very, she elegant. She makes everything beautiful. But this time, when Miranda comes, she just make a cactus. Like it doesn't connect with what she always had, and she's started that she makes something beautiful, and instead of the image of the pure perfection, she's not that, and she made something different. But when that happened, after that the scene changes, and the grandmother and Miranda is just speaking and arguing, and Miranda is faces her grandmother and tells, it's your fault that everything is just collapsing, because you are going to force Isabel to marry someone that she even didn't like. But then the house structure is collapsed because you faced something in the family. Like everything is fine in a culture, society, and then something goes wrong. Like everything is so good that you want to keep it good, and you don't look at everything that is just going to go out, like a Bruno that left the family, and the image of perfection, that we have a superpower, we are the best, that causes culture to collapse. And if you look at the 20th century, it's the story of 20th century, and even now countries like Germany with World War One and Second, and with every other thing that's happening, like everything's so good and ordered and perfect that beneath it there's so much darkness that causes that structure to collapse. And here the structure is collapsed, and she's here in her chaos. She lives, and Miranda lives and sits next to a river, and river is always like a movement, there is a change. Nothing in a river is permanent, like everything is moving. She's just sit next to a water movement, feminine element. And in the meantime, the grandmother comes to her and speaks to her, and she start to become vulnerable, telling her story, what she went through, and how hard was for her to just show this face of that she can hold it together. She has control over everything, that this power, she can hold the flame. But you can't always do that. That's collab. It's her story, that how she fell her in love with um, her grandfather, and how they married and have triplet. They had a triplet, like number three. Number three is like in feminine, it's like a maiden, mother, and crone. Like it's like that element. Like she had 3 children. One of them is male and 2 daughters. So they had a son and 2 daughters. But when one of them, like Bruno, goes into the shadow, the structure of the family also collapses. Like things get wrong. They have some problem that they need to leave their hometown. They need to live where they live, and they need to go somewhere else. They are scared. There's a fire. You can see the flame in their face. They can't say scaredness. Flame with 3 little children. They need to run away, and the grandfather dies. He's sacrificed, and she's like in a state of pure sadness, grief, depression with 3 children in her arms, and she's just crying, like she's deeply crying. But in the meantime, a magic happens, and the flame becomes like a permanent flame, and she has a home. The magic come and create a house for her, and gives all of her children some superpower and a community to come together and be safe. When she says that, like the darkness that we saw comes to the light, like now you don't see that being consumed with your emotion, like deadened with your emotion. Now you are much more in lighter space to think clearly. When you sit down and sort out your emotion, and you become vulnerable with people that who are in your life, one of the best things that we all can do to just do our own part in the world is just sit down and be honest with the people around them. Like instead of just pretending, we can just say what's going wrong and what we want and what we don't want, or the story and the harshness that we went through. Again, you see lots of butterflies transformation, like when the old and new come together. Usually what's the problem, like there's a chaos between the old and new generation. They usually don't go together. The older people, I don't mean about the family member only. It's about like a matriarchal culture, something so old, like some moral values, some culture, but they don't go together with the newer generation, that there are freshness. They can come, they can see what's weakness, they can sort it. If these two come together, our problem would be solved. But usually these two doesn't come together. Here they came together, and the transformation of golden butterfly happened. Like they've been all of them through a death. Now they are going to all remerge, rebirth. And that's like Bruno comes out of his shadow, and when he comes out of his shadow, like the mother accepts him. He was thinking that he's an outcast, the mother doesn't want him. But when he comes, like the mother also is seeing something she just lost, and she also becomes complete. Like it's the scene before that, when Bruno comes, like he wants to be strong, like the animal is next to him, like his instinct, he wants to be powerful, he wants to accept all of his mistake and his good, and the mother accepts him. Here is the house that is total chaos, but there is darkness, and there is some lushness here, and there is a mountain that within some older structure you can build again, build your home, build your life, build yourself. Like we are going to go through lots of life challenges, relationship challenges, health challenges, family crisis, and some of crisis that a nation can experience, like what happened, like what's happening within a country like Afghanistan that is just in total chaos right now. So it's like total chaos. But here is some structure, like there's some structure there, and everything is much lighter. Like when you are in light, you can change things, and it's going to change. And uh, she comes to join her parents, and speak with them. It's I don't know if you know. Just comment below about the father that twice it happened in the scene that bees uh, make the father like this, like his ear and his nose just become like this. I don't know exactly what was the meaning. Like the movie came twice in the same place, and he brings him back to the family. He's so scared. Like you see little shy children who just go to the darkness, and when you introduce them, when you embrace them, you see that how strong they are. Now all of the community comes to help this magical family to rebuild their home. Like they were the image of perfection, but now everything that is collapsed, these other member of the community feel like connected to them. They're not like the perfection that they are imperfection. They are all like same, and they come to help them. And Miranda, she's the bridge between them. Like you see, there is no. I don't think that this be like random, that she's somewhere here. She's not close to them and not here. She's here, and she's bridging the gap between perfection and imperfection. I just bring these two together, and these three sisters are just perfect. And the three sisters come together instead of expecting her to do everything by her, have superpower and work. They just do it together and change. They come together and they build their house again, but again the magic comes back to the house. And when Miranda goes, the everything again becomes magical, and they come together in the same place that they been before. But it's a spiral. They just move through it. It's like a spiral. They've been here, but now they just move and transform. They all transform, and the magical house come, and they live together in a magic with all the instinct and the family member that there is.